because if the drug molecule can't make its way through the bloodstream, for example, say it gets stuck in muscle or fat, and people that have excess fat or muscle may not do as well, or may need higher doses of a medication, because the molecules will try to get stuck in the muscle or fat, and we'll get stuck, not try to get stuck, but we'll get stuck in muscle or fat, and it won't be available to go through the bloodstream. And if it can't get through the bloodstream as efficiently, it won't make its way to the brain, and we need the molecules to get to the brain so we can have the positive benefits. So then we get metabolism. So this is essentially the termination of the drug. The liver is the main source of metabolism, and it causes the drug to be more water soluble, so it can be excreted in the urine. So the liver gets the drug molecule to be to have a greater affinity for liquid, so that the SSRI or SNRI, then you can develop with something called serotonin syndrome, which is really serotonin toxicity. And then monoamine oxidase inhibitors, these drugs can interact with other medications like over-the-counter cold medications. So really what happens is the medication, along with some of these other medications or foods, can raise the levels of norepinephrine or noradrenaline in the body, which can lead to hypertension, excessive hypertension, or what we call hypertensive crisis. And then you can have a brain bleed because of it. So generally TCAs and MAOIs should only be prescribed by those psychopharmacologists that have, fairly good bit of experience. So some common treatment areas to avoid: underdosing. Again, you tend to see this with primary care docs where they're not comfortable. You can't put someone on 20 milligrams of Prozac and leave them on that for 6 months. You've got to constantly assess. Some people may need 80 long term. But the reality is primary care docs like benzodiazepines because they're easy to dose, they work quickly, and they tend to be effective in the short term. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, they have dependence issues, tolerance issues, and they don't necessarily work long term. Some actually think GAD is more of a psychological disorder, not biological, and recommend psychotherapy. I think it's a bit of both, because I do know that the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs like Effexor, and even the medication that buspirone, actually have been shown in a number of studies to be effective in treating generalized anxiety disorder. And the nice thing about using these medications is they don't lead to dependence or tolerance like the benzodiazepines do. When it comes to stress-related anxiety, I'm all for using a mild tranquilizer like Valium or Xanax short-term, just to help the person get through. It's just going to be 10 times harder. So if you've got depression, but you've got a sleep disorder on top of that, insomnia, if you've got anxiety and you're not sleeping well, it's going to be 10 times worse, and it's going to feel like you're sinking. Even though you may think you're making some progress, you still seem to be sinking and getting worse. So why is sleep important? And you think you probably have a general idea of why it's important, but we don't know specifically why we have to sleep. The theory is that we need sleep to be restorative, that to let kind of our bodies rest and our cardiovascular system rest for a while. But if it wasn't for that, we really wouldn't need sleep. But we know that lack of sleep can lead to poor memory, and sleep seems to help consolidate memory.